Thanks for tuning in to Football Predictions and Wine Pairings with me, Francis. If you're not subscribing, I would love it if you would subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. Now, if you're like me at all, you've been having a lot of free time because there's been no football for the last 10 days. I've been filling my free time with the NBA. And while I do really enjoy the NBA, I don't have a lot of rituals around watching NBA games like I do with football, mainly because there's a game every single night and it would just be impossible to kind of keep anything going. But I think maybe I'm going to have to work on that during the off season. But now is our time that we're preparing for the biggest football game of the season, and that is the Super Bowl. It's coming up on Sunday. So I want to revisit a wine that we've had before because I think it's an excellent choice for something that you can have during the Super Bowl festivities. And that wine is Kirkland Cote de Rhone's Villages. And I want to, 2023, I want to point that out too. I wanted to come back to this wine because it has a lot of things that I thought were super useful and really a good choice for Super Bowl day. Let me start with the thing that I thought was most useful. The price. It's $7.49, okay? And if you're like me, you're probably gonna have more than one wine and you're gonna be pairing it with a lot of greasy, fatty things. Hear me say I'm pairing this with chili dogs. So if you're going to be pairing it with those kind of things where it's not going to be this huge, elegant meal or where you're going to only be focused on one food item, it's probably a good idea to not be spending more than $20 on the bottles of wine that you get. It makes it a lot easier to bring more than one. Even at this price point, I can bring 2 of these bottles and something else and still be under $40 and have 3 bottles of wine. So this is kind of a function of, just playing good costs and great taste. And so I kind of want to talk about it again in case you didn't see the previous video or you just didn't remember, which is fine. I forget things all the time. So I want to start by saying that this wine comes from Cote de Rhone Villages, which is in the Rhone wine region of the south of France. It's like southeast France. It is next door to some wine regions you may have heard of before, even one that I mentioned on this show before. It's close by to Vaucluse and to Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And one of the things about Cote de Rhone Villages is it is also next door to something I'm almost positive you've heard of before, Cote de Rhone. They're very famous for their rosé. But Cote de Rhone Villages is a higher class of vineyards, so you're getting better quality for the same price. And that is always an amazing thing to do. Now, in this particular glass of wine, we're going to see a beautiful dark color, and it is just amazing. On the nose, I'm getting red berries, black pepper, and a little bit of wood, think light balsam or light cedar, that kind of a smell. On the tongue, I'm getting that black pepper right up front. It is really tannin forward, so I want to say that right now, so that way if you're a person who's like, I'm not trying to mess with tannins, this may not be for you because it has a lot of tannins up front, but then they just drop off, so the finish is very smooth. You're also getting red berry, black licorice. Now, black licorice is not something that I generally enjoy, but in here it is not that bad. And this is a blend of 3 grapes. It is a blend of Grenache, 50% Grenache, because the rules around Cote de Rhone Villages require that it be 50% Grenache minimum. And it requires that the next blending grapes, Mourvedre and Syrah, be at minimum 20%, but they are making up the remaining 50%. Now, as I said, I'm planning on pairing this with a chili dog. For me, when I'm watching the Super Bowl, I love eating chili dogs because they're delicious, and the fattiness of the chili and the hot dog. I also like mine with cheese and onion. Like, those things are gonna be strong on their own. So a wine like this is a good choice because it's able to kind of deal with that and not be lost when you're eating it. I'm going to keep it short because I'm hoping to see you again this week with a different wine, because I want to give you a couple of wines that you can bring to your Super Bowl party. Also, later in the week, I'll talk about what I'm going to be having at my Super Bowl party. So To recap, I want to let you know, run out and get this at Costco. If you can find it at $7.50, go ahead and get 2 bottles when you buy it. Just know it is the 2023 Cote de Rhone's Villages, and it's very enjoyable. Cheers.